Don't forget to imagine the best case scenario too. As humans, we tend to suffer twice from the same situation. One in our imagination and then one in reality. The future is one of the few things that don't actually exist yet, but we still let it dictate our moods. A conversation that hasn't happened, a failure that hasn't occurred, a rejection that hasn't arrived, somehow shadows from an imaginary future are able to darken a very real present. If we can be miserable from an imagined future, then why can't we also be optimistic about it? Many people think that it's cool or mature to have a pessimistic outlook on life, and that one must always imagine the worst case scenario. Many people secretly believe pessimism is intelligence. The person who expects the worst is often viewed as mature. The person who expects good is viewed as naive. But both are making assumptions about things that haven't even happened yet. Neither knows the future. One simply chooses the darkness, while the other allows room for light. I mean, sure, it's important to note that, unfortunate things may happen. But it's just as important to believe that the best case scenario will occur as well. I think people tend to condemn those who view life optimistically. Whenever I tell someone about my goals in the gym, general life, finances, they look at me like I'm crazy. Well, what if it doesn't work out? What if everything goes wrong? What if this? What if that? What if? And people are so negative about things too. If you say you have any big aspirations, they look down on you like you're stupid. Sure, things can go wrong, but what if things go right? And what if everything you worked hard for, everything you put your mind to actually works out? What if the best case scenario happens? People are so pessimistic about their outlook on life that they predispose themselves to not achieve anything. Someone will say, oh, I'm not going to try XYZ activity because I'll never be good at it. What if you are good at it? The strange thing is that the future doesn't care what you imagined. Reality isn't influenced by whether you spent the last 6 months worrying or hoping. The exam will still arrive, the interview will still happen, the conversation will still take place. All your imagination changes is the version of yourself that shows up when the moment finally comes. The person who has spent weeks imagining failure walks into the room already defeated. They hesitate, second-guessing themselves, and they're searching for evidence that confirms what they've been thinking about in their heads. But the person who has imagined success walks a little differently. They stand taller, they take more risks, they speak with confidence because they believe that success is possible. Ironically, optimism often becomes the more rational choice because it leads to behaviors that actually improve your odds. It's like the placebo effect. If you believe it'll happen, then it just might happen. If you believe there's a chance you can succeed, you're more willing to practice, to fail, to learn, and to keep going. Pessimism convinces you the race is over before you've even reached the starting line. People love calling themselves realists, but realism isn't assuming everything will go wrong. Realism is accepting that you just don't know. The future hasn't been written yet. You're guessing either way. If you're gonna make a guess, why choose the one that leaves you anxious, unmotivated, and afraid to act? Imagine two people starting a business. One spends every day thinking about bankruptcy, embarrassment, failure. The other acknowledges those possibilities but spends an equal time imagining customers, growth, and success. Now, which one is going to make the extra phone call? Which one is going to stay up another hour improving the product? Which one is going to bounce back after the first setback? Their mindset doesn't guarantee the outcome, but it drastically changes the effort they put in. And this effort is what changes outcomes. This is why belief matters. Not because believing guarantees success, but because belief keeps you moving long enough to give success a chance. Most people don't fail because their dreams were impossible. Most people fail because they quit after convincing themselves the ending has already been decided. They reject themselves before anyone else can. They never ask the person out because they'll probably get rejected. They never start the business because it'll probably fail. They never apply for the job because someone else is probably more qualified. They've already lived the worst case scenario in their head, so they never allow reality to surprise them. But sometimes reality does surprise you. Sometimes you get the job. Sometimes the business grows. Sometimes the person says yes. Sometimes the risk pays off in ways that you could not have imagined. But you'll never experience those moments if you spend your life treating the worst case scenario as the only case scenario. So next time you find yourself writing horror stories about the future, write another one alongside it. Imagine everything going right. Imagine yourself overcoming the obstacle. Imagine becoming the person you've always wanted to be. Not because you're trying to fool yourself into blind positivity, but because that future is just as imaginary as the one you're afraid of. Until reality arrives, both stories are fiction. The only difference is that one gives you a reason to move forward, while the other convinces you to stand still. We end up suffering from situations that have only existed in our imagination. So if we're already going to spend time imagining futures that don't exist, why not occasionally imagine one where things go right? Why not imagine yourself succeeding? Why not imagine yourself getting the opportunity? Why not imagine yourself becoming the person you want to be? Not because it's guaranteed, not because the universe owes you anything, but because it's just as possible as the outcome you're afraid of. At the end of the day, the future is unwritten. Nobody gets a peek ahead. Nobody knows how the story ends. So if we're all guessing anyway, I don't see the point in always guessing against yourself. So don't forget to imagine the best case scenario too, bro. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys were able to take something out of it. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you like this type of content. I'm going to try and release this type of content daily. If you have any topic ideas or suggestions, just leave them in the comments. I'll do a video about it. Talk about literally anything. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.